What if the most powerful advantage you could ever develop is fearlessness? What if the single force separating success from failure is not intelligence, talent, or opportunity, but the willingness to confront life without fear? And what if fear is the only thing preventing you from becoming who you are capable of becoming? These questions are at the core of the 50th Law by Robert Greene and Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent. This book blends Greene's understanding of strategy and human behavior with 50 Cent's real-life lessons from the streets, the music industry, and the fight to survive against impossible odds. The message is simple and profound. There is one rule that changes everything: be fearless. Fear is the most destructive force in human life. It limits ambition, weakens creativity, kills dreams, and keeps people trapped in mediocrity. Fear makes people accept less than they want, silence their voice, hesitate on opportunities, and hide their real potential. Fear convinces people to trade freedom for safety, greatness for comfort, and progress for familiarity. The 50th Law teaches that anyone willing to overcome fear becomes unstoppable because most people are controlled by it. When you stop being afraid, you no longer have limits. The book begins with the story of 50 Cent growing up in South Jamaica, Queens, surrounded by violence, instability, and poverty. At 12 years old, he began selling drugs to survive. Every day carried the possibility of death or prison. At 19, he was arrested. Later, he was shot 9 times at close range, survived, and returned to build one of the most successful careers in music and business. The world tried to break him. He refused to break. The 50th Law was born from that refusal: fear nothing. Greene and 50 Cent explain that fearlessness does not mean recklessness. It means clarity. It means seeing reality as it truly is, instead of through the distortion of fear. Most people ignore reality because it is uncomfortable. They avoid difficult truths and painful challenges. But avoiding reality always leads to weakness. Facing reality leads to strength. The fearless do not wait for perfect circumstances. They adapt, create solutions, and take action even when conditions are uncertain. The world rewards the bold. A central idea in the book is the ability to accept and embrace the unpredictable. Life is chaos. Nothing is guaranteed. Plans collapse. People betray you. Opportunities fail. The only constant is uncertainty. Weak people fear chaos and cling to routine and control. Strong people use chaos to grow. They see change not as a threat, but as fuel. When others freeze, the fearless move. That movement creates advantage. The person most comfortable with uncertainty is the one who wins. Another theme in the 50th Law is the necessity of building self-reliance. Do not depend on others for your success, approval, or strength. When you rely on others, you become vulnerable. When you rely on yourself, you become free. 50 Cent learned early that nobody was coming to save him. That truth forced him to trust his instincts and build independence. Greene emphasizes that the most powerful individuals in history built their lives on self-direction. They created their own path instead of waiting for permission. The book also explores the importance of turning adversity into strength. Every hardship contains hidden power. People who succeed are not the ones who avoid struggle, but the ones who transform struggle into growth. Pain becomes fuel. Loss becomes wisdom. Betrayal becomes clarity. Failure becomes reinvention. Most people collapse when challenges appear. The fearless rise because challenges sharpen capability. Nothing builds character faster than difficulty. One of the most valuable lessons in the 50th Law is the power of relentless work ethic. Fearful people want shortcuts. Fearless people embrace discipline. They do not wait for motivation or inspiration. They build momentum through action. 50 Cent worked longer and harder than anyone else in the music industry. While others celebrated success, he was already planning the next move. Work ethic protects you from fear because confidence grows through competence. The more you build, the less fragile you become. Greene also explains the importance of mastering presence. Fearful people shrink, fearless people expand. They walk into rooms with certainty because they know who they are and what they stand for. Presence is created through conviction, posture, silence, and clarity. When you radiate confidence, people follow. Leadership begins internally. The world believes you only when you believe yourself. Another essential teaching is the ability to confront conflict directly. Fear makes people avoid confrontation. They pretend problems do not exist, hoping they disappear. But problems ignored always grow. Problems confronted dissolve. 50 Cent built his dominance by refusing to retreat from conflict. He met challenges head on. When you learn to face struggle instead of running from it, you gain power over life. What you fear controls you. What you face, you control. The 50th law also highlights the power of boldness. Bold action creates momentum. Hesitation kills momentum. The world respects and responds to decisive people. When you hesitate, opportunities move to someone else. When you step boldly, luck seems to appear. But it is not luck. It is the natural reward for courage. Boldness separates leaders from followers. Greene stresses that the greatest fear is the fear of death. Every other fear is rooted in that fundamental anxiety. Fear of loss, pain, failure, rejection, uncertainty, embarrassment, and change. The 50th law teaches that accepting the inevitability of death liberates life. When you accept that time is short, you stop wasting life on excuses, doubts, and delays. You start living with urgency and clarity. True freedom begins when nothing scares you anymore. The book teaches that fearless people understand power dynamics. They are not intimidated by authority or hierarchy. They do not beg for approval. They negotiate from strength. Influence grows when you refuse to play small, when you become independent of external validation. You become untouchable. The concluding message is simple. Fear is the enemy. Confidence is the weapon. Action is the cure. When you choose fearlessness, the world opens. When you choose fear, the world closes. The fearless create opportunities. The fearful wait for opportunities. The fearless build their identity. The fearful mimic others. The fearless pursue greatness. The fearful settle for survival. The big takeaway from the 50th law is this. Everything you want in life is on the other side of fear. Wealth, power, love, leadership, creativity, meaning, and freedom all require courage. Fearlessness is not natural, it is trained. Every time you confront fear, you weaken it. Every time you avoid fear, you strengthen it. Become the person who acts. Become the person who speaks. Become the person who moves. Become the person who refuses to be controlled by anything outside yourself. So what lesson from the 50th law resonates most with you? The importance of confronting reality? The idea of turning adversity into advantage? The necessity of self-reliance? Or the power of bold action and fearlessness? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this summary, like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books and tap the bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into life-changing books. Remember, Power belongs to those who are brave enough to claim it. Fear nothing, and nothing can stop you.